We stayed in Lyon, in Sète, and Béziers for 3 months each, all without a car.
We hit Lyon first in the middle of a July heat wave, dealing with high rents and steep hills. And then we moved to Sète for the winter from January through March, testing a windy coastal lifestyle.
Against the freezing Mediterranean weather that we got.
And then finally, we spent our spring in Béziers from April through June, finding a super affordable spot that had its own street-by-street challenges.
Yeah, 90 days in each place gave us just enough time to stop feeling like we were on some kind of a vacation and actually live like residents. And by the end, there was one clear winner for us.
The main reason that we picked these 3 cities was specifically for their size. We wanted to feel what it would be like to know 3 different aspects of French life. Massive city, medium-sized fishing town down on the coast, and then
A
small affordable place as a regional hub. Our experiment started in mid-July when we arrived in Lyon, and we went straight into that big city version of French life during the absolute hottest part of the summer.
Very hot.
And Lyon is massive. It's a very busy place with huge 19th century apartment buildings.
And then it has the Rhone and the Seine, the 2 major rivers running through it. But being there in July, it still meant
being like in that, like a concrete heat wave jungle.
Yeah. But despite the heat, I'd say the transit system was easily the best part of the whole experience. It was very convenient.
You never have to worry about a car.
We did not need one. The subways, the trams, the buses, all clean. They have air conditioning, which was very helpful. And they run constantly. There's always a bus that you can take. Running our daily errands, going to the grocery store, and even just going and visiting new things and trying to go as far out as we could. It was like a no-brainer, and it was simple and uncomplicated just to open the app and grab the bus. Yeah, it was a huge amount of freedom to get around without having to worry about driving or any of that parking stress. It just completely spoiled us compared to what we found in the South. So on a normal, regular day, Tuesday, we would head out for groceries probably every other day.
I think you're right.
And for us, that was going to Monoprix. That was our main stop.
On special occasions, we'd get down to the La Halles of Paul Bocuse, but that was a
special treat. The La Halles of Paul Bocuse, that's a famous high-end indoor market, and it just has all of the goods.
They have really good food there with really good stalls with anything that you'd ever want.
Butchers, bakeries, cheese, and you can just pick some of that stuff up, bring it home and make your own dinner at home. But it's pricey, so yeah, you couldn't do that on a regular basis. But you definitely get more of a variety of food that you can pick up to make back at the apartment, more than you do in a smaller town.
Yeah, and food shopping in Lyon was pretty expensive. We could find good food deals,
which is what we did.
But they were pretty comparable prices to what we saw in Boston.
Yeah, it wasn't very different. So our first experience, we didn't even think anything of it. It was just what we were used to.
Yeah, and then the rental market was very highly competitive.
Yeah, we had to Airbnb. We wanted to make sure that we were in the right spot. We didn't want our first slow travel outing to be any kind of disappointment. So we wanted to make sure we were in a good location, and we had read and learned a lot about Croix-Rousse, and we wanted to be in the center of it. And so that's the Airbnb that we snagged, and we liked it, but it was on the higher end of...
Yeah, you could tell we were paying the premium city tax just to live in
a nice functioning type of area, I guess.
Right.
And then by August and September, it starts to wear you down a little bit, the location, because Lyon has these 2 historic hills, Croix-Rousse being one of them, and the other one, I can't really pronounce it, for Vielle, and they're beautiful. They look great in photos when you're down in the other areas of Lyon.
Yeah, but when you're buying your groceries down in the city, you definitely don't want to be carrying them all the way back.
Yeah, doing that in the summer heat is definitely a workout. But because the subways and funiculars are so awesome, we made sure to take advantage of using that whenever we were coming back. So we'd go down the steps, or however we'd get there, but we never went back up. We always saved that for the buses and the trams because, we need to make sure our knees keep functioning for our future years.
Gotta get those steps in.
By October, though, I would say the summer, actually, it was a little drastic. I recall it was really hot that you couldn't even go outside, you couldn't even breathe. And then all of a sudden, I went outside and realized I need a jacket. Like, I don't have one. I didn't realize.
We always needed a jacket after that.
Yeah.
It never got warm again.
So I had to go buy one. I bought a hoodie. So when it gets cold and overcast, it starts to feel a little different, the atmosphere, the ambiance, and that's expected. But Lyon always had something going on to get you out of the house. They had festivals in the streets.
They had events.
They had
a fair.
A fair right in the center. And there just was always a concert or something going on to go.
Yeah, Cordoba always felt vibrant and full of energy no matter what.
And it was our first time, so we weren't really, I guess, ready to... I don't know if it was on us, but we didn't really meet anybody. We didn't really get to know anyone. We went to so many different boulangeries and it was a big city. So we just never really got to know any of the local people in the community.
Right. I think we were just really too busy just trying to figure out our new retired lifestyle and trying to figure out our budget. But the city kept us really active. So it quickly and maybe still became our favorite city.
Yeah, Lyon proved that big city life in France is great if you have a larger budget, and it easily became our favorite of the entire trip. Our next 3-month stay was in Sète, and we stayed there from January through March.
Yeah, we wanted to experience the Mediterranean during the winter, and we thought it was going to be a lot warmer than it was. But when we went from a dense urban street of Lyon to a medium-sized fishing town right down on the water, when we arrived in January, man, we thought it was going to be like summer beach tourists.
But they were gone. That was not happening. And the town belonged entirely to the locals, which was different. And we actually enjoyed that. So physically, the town was a relief for us because it was flatter than we expected because we know that it was built on a hill, but it's on the water. And to get around, you didn't really need to go up the hill the way you did in Lyon. We would just walk everywhere. And when we wanted to go see a beautiful view, we would then take a bus to get us up higher.
Or if we had to go to a grocery store, because that was one up at the top of the hill as well.
The sidewalks along the canals are totally level.
Yeah, everything down in the beach area and the marina is completely level.
And we just go look at the fishing boats and then go take care of everything we need to take care of.
You could run all your errands down there without any problem
the morning,
on foot.
Our little routine, I wouldn't say it was in the morning, but our daily routine was pretty simple. We'd walk right over the flat canal bridges, beautiful every day. It was just such a nice view to be had. And we'd go to either check out the halls, which we only did a couple of times.
Just peek in, basically, to see how busy it was.
Yeah, and in the winter, it's a quiet, I think it's a little more authentic because it's not, crazy busy, but as it got warmer, it got busier on specific days.
Especially during their market days.
It felt like a town that was going to be easy to love when we first got there. It was just so nice and just relaxing and on the ocean, which is just something that we favor.
Yeah, I thought even in the winter I would be able to go fishing and enjoy myself. But by February, the winter weather was like causing us even housing issues at that point.
Sète sits right between the sea and this saltwater lagoon, which means it's completely exposed to the elements.
And the wind is ridiculous.
And it picks up. It's brutal. It rattles you in your bones. It cuts right through everything. And you just end up wanting to stay inside. At least February felt that way.
And because the town's built right on the water, almost all of the housing is like these older historic buildings. And in the dead of winter, we definitely were huddled against our heater
But we were using it a lot more than
expected.
Than we thought we would have, right? There are a lot of events planned, and most of them are around the summer. I'd say a little end of spring into the summer. It's obvious that Sète gets very busy and overwrought with tourists.
I can imagine.
There were people visiting in winter. You could tell they were just there for the day. So you can only imagine then the street layout. it just asks for traffic because you can't really turn off of the area that's pretty to see. So you just know that's what it's going to be like. And we were lucky enough to be in that area. So it was easy for us to just go outside and just go see all of the nice that there was to see, and for it to be our own backyard while we were doing our errands.
I don't think we had any ridiculous days, but you could tell that that could be a frustrating chore if you wanted to go to even just the grocery store when the town was mobbed with people. So there's, we could tell that we were seeing the seasonal extremes here, where it was going to be gorgeous and calm, but cold and windy, or it's going to be hot and crowded, filled with people.
So Sète won us over with its being by the ocean, more than anything, and its flat walking type area, and being able to go up the hill and see an even more beautiful view.
Gorgeous views.
But that damp winter chill and those winds and the reality of what it would be like in the summer with the crowds, it kept it from being our perfect long-term fit.
Yeah, so it might have given us a great, genuine experience. And it was a lot of pressure to kind of put on Lyon.
Yeah, because we were like in Lyon, and now here we are in this majestic oceanside area. But we still had one final test.
Yeah, we wanted to see if, maybe being away from the ocean and going a little bit inland, we could catch
a different aspect of spring in a France town.
Yeah, in a beautiful city in France, yeah.
We arrived in Béziers at the beginning of April. Perfect spring start, and we stayed through June. So that gave us 3 full months to experience the city during the absolute best part of spring. The weather was really great. I mean, there were a couple of days here and there, but in entirety.
Yeah, I would say as soon as we arrived, the weather completely started to change for the whole area,
especially
the whole region.
After the intense summer heat of Lyon. And then the freezing winds that we had in Sète, walking into this beautiful sunny Mediterranean spring, it was a nice welcome.
Yeah, breath of fresh air kind of
deal. It really was. The very first thing that hit us here was the immediate relief on the budget. Yeah. I mean, we weren't really overspending in Sète. Lyon, we probably did, but here it's incredibly affordable. Groceries, everything, especially the Airbnb that we're in.
Yeah, that was a total different.
We've got a great deal, especially for the location that we're in.
Yeah, I was just going to say completely different from our major hub in Lyon that we stayed in first.
Oh, yeah.
This was so much more economical.
Our monthly cost, because we're here for long term, the first month costs a little more than the second month, but by the third month, we were paying $45 a night. I mean, that's just amazing. Everything from groceries, even picking up a couple of items here and there. For the first time in the entire 9 months, our travel budget felt like it was actually giving us money back.
Definitely stretching a little bit more than we were used to.
Yeah, the stress, the concern that we might have had of, wait, we've got to change our lifestyle if we're going to meet this budget that we have, it sort of relaxed a little bit because now we see how all of France is inexpensive. It's just here, you could make up for one location by staying in another location.
Yeah, and I would say our daily routine here quickly became the easiest and simplest of all of our trips so far. And I think it's because of the center of the town has this nice renovated market, and there's a bunch of grocery stores you can walk to, and the bus system is super cheap.
I would say the sidewalks are wide. The town has these flat promenades, just enjoyable to sit and just take them in and just spend hours people watching.
Yeah, you're not overwhelmed by any kind of crowds, even on market days.
And there's no touristic
tour buses.
And within just a couple of weeks, we actually started to talk to some of the vendors that we were going to on a daily.
Yeah, the boulangerie. I kind of made a friend at our boulangerie.
We did. But the routine started to feel a little bit too slow and sleepy for us compared to the energy that we were getting in Lyon. So building a social life was shockingly easy here because it seems to be. We're not here long enough to really get to know everyone, but you can feel that it's a little easier here. It's just incredibly welcoming. And there are people that speak French that want to learn English. So it's sort of a
little connection that you're now making. I don't know if it's because our French is getting better. I highly doubt it. But There seems to be a little bit of more of a reach out from the community to make friends.
In Lyon, we felt completely anonymous. It was just us and the world. And in Sète, the winter,
It was a little heads down there.
yeah, kept us in our little bubble. Béziers also works perfectly as a location to stay in as a base for exploring, like a hub. It has a busy train station right on the main regional line, which means that you can we could just walk down from our apartment, hop on a train, and be in one of the neighboring towns or even down at the beach in less than 20 minutes without ever needing a rental car.
Yeah, but outside of that train line, they do have a great bus system, but to kind of get anywhere, you have to use that bus.
Yeah, and it doesn't go everywhere. It takes you where we found that we needed to go, but we have no idea if it would benefit us to have a car to get anywhere further. I mean, even the bigger grocery stores that we've been checking out are a good 20 minutes away by bus. So Béziers turned out to be practical. It won on affordability. It wins on the spring weather.
The weather, of course.
Because that's when we're here. And it also wins on the community and being able to know that there is that opportunity there.
And the lack of big city infrastructure kind of kept us on our toes.
So with our final 90 days wrapped up, it was time to look at the whole 9-month experiment and figure out which of these 3 completely different lifestyles actually worked best. We had to get completely honest about each and every one of them and what we would be gaining and or losing if we went back to any of them. So every single one of these cities we found forces you to make some kind of a compromise.
Yeah. So now Lyon gives us that world-class transit and unmatched food experience, right? I mean, it's worldly known for that. But it definitely demands a much larger budget. And it's a little bit physically demanding because of those big hills, because I think we stayed in Croix.
Instead, it gives you that flat, level walking. And if you want to go up, you can in a bus. And it's that maritime lifestyle that we like.
And fishing.
And we're right on the water, which we like. But you'd have to take that winter into consideration because you'd need to get through that freezing winter, those winter winds. And then you'd have to consider if you would even want to be around in the summer when the tourist crowd comes in.
Right. And then you have Béziers. It gives you a totally affordable and instantly, as we found,
social community.
Right.
To embrace.
But it's much slower.
Yeah.
And the pace is a lot quieter. And then you have those rough, unrenovated pockets.
You just
near
have to
the
stay
city
away
center.
from.
That's it.
So if we were forced to book another 3-month stay tomorrow for one of these 3 places, our gut reaction would be to jump right back into Lyon. It's just, that's the first thought we had.
And for the way we travel, it offered the most vibrant, high energy version of French life that is backed by world-class infrastructure.
Absolutely. Lyon is masterfully shaped by the water, and that Rhone and Saône rivers define its gorgeous riverfront atmosphere. But at the end of the day,
it's not the same.
A river is not the sea.
Yeah, it doesn't have that beautiful saltwater horizon that we're looking for.
Or breathing in that coastal salty air.
Or it doesn't have kind of like that maritime-y fisherman's kind of place that
and we realize, yeah, we love that. Yeah. That's just, we're used to that. Everywhere we've ever lived, we had the opportunity to go to the beach or smell the salt air, and it's something that we would definitely miss. So living in Lyon would mean that
we'd be landlocked.
Yeah, which is a massive contrast to the coastal lifestyle that we were having in Sète, or being just 20-minute train ride away from the beach in Béziers.
Every traveler has that non-negotiable kind of thing in their routine. So for this 9-month experiment, it proved to us that a very cool, big metropolitan city like Lyon can give us perfect infrastructure and the absolute best lifestyle on paper.
On paper. But
if you're going to crave something like the open ocean like we do right outside your door, that's a tough one.
9 months taught us that choosing a place to live isn't about choosing the prettiest city. It's about finding the one that still works when all the sightseeing is over and normal everyday life begins.
If you had to spend 3 months in one of these towns, Lyon, Sète, or Béziers, which one would you choose? We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.